I am not really concerned about AI coming for my job and my work as a pianist or as a composer, as a DJ. What I am concerned about is that I may not have anywhere to play and perform as a pianist, composer, or DJ. Hey everyone, bit of a different video on the channel today. I wanted to get this video out while it's still timely, and I know it's another video where I'm talking to the camera. I promise there will be music coming soon. I wanted to talk about the closure of a very important venue here in Montreal, why it's more egregious than some of the other venue closures we've suffered over the past decade, and why I think it's also a symptom of a larger problem of a more broken industry. So follow me on this story, if you will. So Cabaret La Tulipe, for those of you who don't live in Montreal, Cabaret La Tulipe has been a venue for 110 years. It opened in 1913, and in different persuasions, different names, it has been a venue in some way, shape, or form since 1913. And almost 10 years ago, 2016, a businessman named Pierre-Yves Baudouin bought the building next door to La Tulipe. And that building, by the city of Montreal's own admission, was zoned erroneously. It should have been zoned exclusively as a commercial building. But Monsieur Baudouin was able to live in that building, live in the apartment on top of that building, because it was erroneously zoned as mixed use and residential. And upon moving in 2016, 103 years into the history of Cabaret La Tulipe, he started complaining about the noise. The noise coming from a century-old theater and venue. I shouldn't have to elaborate about why that's wrong. I shouldn't have to elaborate about why that's a problem. And yet, here we are. The appellate court yesterday found in favor of Monsieur Baudouin that it is the responsibility of La Tulipe to... they are no longer allowed to make noise. Sorry, forgive me for reading from my phone, but I want to do a free translation from this article on Radio Canada's website. And they have an excerpt of the appellate court's ruling, and this is in French. Radio Canada's the French CBC, for those of you who don't know. And I'm going to translate this excerpt from the appellate court's ruling. The noise from loudspeakers, as long as it is heard at the exterior of the establishment, is in the eyes of the municipal legislator a disturbing noise to the urban environment, no matter its intensity or the hour of the day or night at which we hear it. So a venue that has been around for 110 years, that is no longer allowed to use any kind of loudspeaker amplification at any time of the day or night, and at no level at which it can be heard outside of the establishment. Can we all agree that this is insane? That this is absolutely insane? The reason I say that this is a symptom of larger issues at play, obviously this isn't the first venue to close in Montreal. This is not going to be the last venue to close in Montreal or anywhere. There are lots of other issues here. And I've spoken about these before in other videos on my channel and other interviews I've done. I don't understand, I have never understood, and I continue to fail to understand how, on one hand, you have the city, the borough of the Plateau Mont Royal, the city and the borough admitting, by their own admission, it was a zoning error, that the building next door and on top of La Tulipe should never have been zoned as residential. Nobody should be living there. And yet, it's the venue that loses. It's the venue that has to bear the onus of soundproofing everything to an inch of its life so you don't hear anything outside. It's on the corner of Papineau and Mont Royal, which is not, for those of you who don't live in Montreal or don't know the geography of Montreal, it's not downtown, it's not Place des Arts, it's not where the festivals happen, but Mont Royal is a very busy commercial street. They even close it all summer to be pedestrian only. And Papineau is a major north-south thoroughfare in the city, and there is a lot of traffic. It is not a quiet street. 2 blocks south of where La Tulipe is the northern boundary of Parc La Fontaine. It's not a suburb, it's not a quiet residential suburb by any means. It's not downtown, but it's not on the outskirts of the city either. It's, kind of an extension of downtown. So on the one hand, the city, who admitted their zoning error, is not taking accountability for said error and is putting one of the most renowned and one of the most historical venues in the city in danger. And today it just came down that La Tulipe is going to stop its activities, cancel all its shows that it has slated for the next few months. The city of Montreal, through its tourism board, through Tourisme Montréal, wants to purport that Montreal is a cultural hub, that we have so much culture and so much music and so much art. Please come and visit us and spend your money here. No artist plays Jazz Fest or Francophonie or Osheaga without going through venues like La Tulipe first. It's impossible. It just doesn't happen that way. And here is where we get into why this is a symptom of a larger issue. Because it has become painfully clear to me that people don't understand how music works. Civilians don't understand how music works, how culture works. I'm focusing on music. I would say that dance kind of goes hand in hand with the argument I'm about to make, right? In North America, music and dance have become something that you have to study, that you choose to study, that you choose to go into. They are not a part of everyday life anymore. There isn't a guitar hanging around the house, a piano in every living room, the way there used to be 40, 50, 60 years ago. Dancing and singing and playing an instrument are things that we study, things that we choose to do. It's not something that is just around in the air, in the water. We're 2 generations in to people who have not been exposed to music or dance or theater, don't understand how it works, don't understand the importance of it to humanity and life and, the kind of non-tangible importance of it, but also the tangible importance of it as well. It's very clear to me that Montreal does not understand how much money it makes from music and culture. They must, because they give Tourism Montreal X amount of millions of dollars to promote how many festivals we have and please come and see us and spend your money here. I was thinking about writing to the Minister of Canadian Heritage yesterday to talk about this, to register my disbelief at what's going on. And I went to the Heritage Canada website, and on the first page of the Heritage Canada website, they boast that in Canada, arts and culture are a $57 billion industry. And we are in a position in one of the largest cities in Canada where we are actively threatening the life of our arts and culture industry. We are actively threatening a $57 billion industry. That does not make any financial sense to me at all. The loss of La Tulipe, the loss of venues, the fundamental lack of understanding of how to promote culture and music, live music, in Montreal and in Quebec is a really big problem for a couple of other reasons. You know, we're about to enter showcase and booking season. Pop Montreal is this week. Global Toronto is this weekend as well. Womex is coming up in October. Mondial Montreal and M for Montreal are coming up in November. There's all kinds of other arts markets. Folk Alliance is happening next year, next February here in Montreal. And I can't fathom how we aren't going to talk about this at every single music market. Thankfully, at Pop Montreal, there is already a panel slated for Saturday on this subject, and I would urge everybody that's in town for Pop Montreal to attend that panel as part of the Pop Symposium. And to all the other music markets, I would urge you to organize a panel about this situation ASAP. We can't, it's untenable in my eyes that we all go around the world and continue to network and party and schmooze and put our heads in the sand and pretend nothing is wrong with our industry. Why would I go to a music market? Why would I pay for my badge and try and set up a speed meeting with a booker that may not have any venues left to book shows into? To meet a festival artistic director that may not have a venue to stage their festival in? This opens up also the can of worms that is the granting system here in Canada. TLDR, I'm very grateful that we have arts councils in Canada in every province and even at the municipal levels. I know that's something for my American friends that they wish they had. You know, I am not ungrateful for that system. We also need to admit that that system is flawed. You know, I Musici, the string orchestra that's been around for years, had to reconfigure their season because they did not get the entirety of their funding. The Off Festival de Jazz de Montréal also had to reconfigure their festival programming because they did not receive one of their primary grants. Why would I try to set up a speed meeting with these artistic directors if they have no idea what their budget's going to look like next year? Why would I set up meetings with these artistic directors if they don't even know if their venues are going to exist in the next year or 5 years? On top of all this, the Musicians Union, the Guilde des Musiciens et Musiciennes de Québec, which is a branch of the AFM, the Musicians Union throughout North America, has been reminding people that the wait time to have your U.S. artist visa processed, your P2 artist visa processed, is 185 days. 6 months. I know too many artists who have been approved for the artist visa have had gigs that they have then had to cancel in the US because they haven't received the paperwork in time. We should be incentivizing artists to tour in Canada, whether it's local artists, domestic artists, or even foreign artists. We should be setting up a really robust system for everybody to tour within Canada. And not just in the summer festivals, but throughout the year. And how can we do that? How can we maintain that robust system if venues are actively being threatened by people who don't want noise? If venues are considered to be noise and not the cultural lifeblood of a city? Yesterday I was just beside myself with rage. And unfortunately, I don't have answers. But I think the first step is that we need to talk actively and openly about how flawed and how broken our industry is here in Montreal, in Quebec, in Canada. We should not be afraid about critiquing our industry and critiquing our system because it's not working. It's not working for us anymore. And the critique is offered in service of improvement. So I urge you, if anybody from the Musicians Union, AFM, GMMQ, the Canadian Independent Music Association, Conseil québécois pour la musique, ACTRA, SOCAN, we need to be talking about this every day of the week. We need to talk about this at every music market, not just in Canada, but internationally. Because the closure of a venue like this, the closure of a venue like La Tulipe that's been around for 113 years, those are jobs that are lost, from the techs to the staff to the artistic directors, the security. Those are shows that need to be moved, and if they're not moved, they're being canceled, which is less income in the pockets of the artists and the presenters and the managers and everybody in the entire food chain of putting up a show. The least we can do is have a discussion in my comments section. But I would urge you, if you watch this video when it goes live and you're in town for Pop Montreal, go to the panel on Saturday afternoon. I will be at Global Toronto this weekend with Dabi Touré. I want to have these discussions with people about how we can improve the Montreal and Canadian music scene, how we can operate and work in the face of having venues actively threatened at every turn. And if you're going to Womex, if you're going to Mundial, if you're going to any music market over the next 6 months, I urge you to have these discussions. We need to be thinking ahead and looking ahead, and we need to figure out how we continue offering live music for generations to come. I am not really concerned about AI coming for my job and my work as a pianist or as a composer, as a DJ. What I am concerned about is that I may not have anywhere to play and perform as a pianist, composer, or DJ if the closure of La Tulipe is anything to go by, if that's a precedent to go by, if venues are not allowed to amplify music through loudspeakers at any time of the day or night. That's a much bigger problem than AI, and that problem is already here. All right, take care. Support your local music venue. Support your local artists. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.